Here we go. And in 3. There comes the yawn.
Come on now.
So close.
They got me doing it. Come on.
I'm sorry. All right, ready? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
So we are now, it's okay. We are a couple hours removed now from the Superman official trailer that dropped at noon today. And I've watched it about 8 times. I know those are rookie numbers, but I've had a busy day at work. So
you're up above me. I've only watched it 3.
So we're obviously going to get into that all in a sec. First of all, we just crossed 250 subscribers, so thank you to everybody who has subscribed. If you haven't already, please do so. We'd like to hit 500 by the end of the year, if also possible. So please and thank you. We'd really appreciate it. And also, if you haven't already, please follow us on all social media at WATV Pod. We got polls up on Threads, new episode announcements on Facebook and Instagram, and all that stuff. But before we get into the full trailer breakdown, this is our weekly podcast. So, Matt, how you doing?
So, how are you doing?
I'm about the same, honestly. It's just a busy time at work for me right now, and
any complaint I have is gonna sound like a humble brag, so I'm not. I'll
tell you what, right now I can't find my weed.
Okay, well, you look for your weed while I tell this dumb story. So,
tell your dumb story.
This is where I'm like, but whatever. So I'm going to test for my third degree black belt.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And in doing so, you have to review everything. So I had to do hey, do your first test. So I had to test like I was my first black belt to make sure I've got all the material. And I totally and completely did a bunch of these things out of order. Twice, oh, it's this one's the next one. And then he just kind of looked at me. I was like, oh, I forgot this one. So then I did the next one. Then I did the wrong next one again. And then it was like, oh, crap, I forgot this one. So
it's like applying for a job as a mechanic. And they're like, all right, show us how you change a tire. And he's like, all right, well, first I floor it.
Yeah. First, I have to open the hood.
All right. So first I cut the brake lines.
Yeah, it was just one of those for changing a tire, it's jacking the car all the way up before you break the bolts. I did that twice. So it was just one of those I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. And then there was one other thing that I blanked on, and because of that, I got a 92 instead of a 95, which means technically I don't pass. So I have to do it again.
It's like I had to be 3 tries to get my learner's permit because I kept they put a lot of trick questions in that test. That's all I'm saying.
That too. But it was also just one of those yeah. It's
it's busy season for me at work, and so this trailer was honestly like I blocked out time on my calendar at work so we could watch this because I was like I need a half hour today to just enjoy myself.
You gotta let me do this, guys.
I need this. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I want to talk about it. You want to talk about it. The people watching want to talk about it. The Superman trailer finally dropped. The full trailer, the story trailer, here's what everything you need to know about this movie before going into it, as it were, without spoiling too much. We got a lot. We pulled the video and it was 2:59 and I was like, this might have just a lot of fluff at the end. No, it was 3 full minutes of trailer. Do you feel like, I know this is an interesting first question.
Okay.
Do you feel like they gave too much away?
I don't, because I think for me, when I watch this trailer, I still don't know what's going on. I know the state of the world that this movie takes place in, but I'm assuming I mean, the engineer is working with Lex Luthor
Sure.
for sure.
We've
She's
known that
obvious.
for a while.
Yeah, she's working with him. We still don't know who the masked dude with the big U on his chest is.
At this point, I don't think he's anybody. At this point, I think people are reading too much into that. I think that might just be a coincidence.
I
They
don't think
might.
he's anybody they think they is.
No, I think not. I think, and I think we posited this in the trailer reaction. I know we talked about it before, but it seems to me like he's just a enhanced in some way muscle man helping out engineer and Lex Luthor, basically there in the event Superman gonna Superman. And
I'm 50-50 on hands up being Bizarro. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I
think we're too early for that, but at the
I
same
think we're
time,
too early for that,
because there's a couple. So that's the big thing. Ultimately, is like we definitely know Lex Luthor's the bad, which duh.
And James Gunn has said as much. And I think for someone like me, up until this point, there's always that question of, well, what is Lex Luthor as a big bad gonna look like when it's, and so this was our first taste of what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, and I think so I still don't know the story. The one thing that became obvious, and I think I said in a reaction, is like the Terrifics aren't just in one scene. Like they're, and I say the Terrifics for those watching, Mr. Terrific, I'm going to call this team the Terrifics until somebody tells me otherwise. Because
until the film says otherwise. Yeah, I know there's people have been throwing around other names because it seems like we posited earlier, like they work for their corporate superheroes that work for Maxwell Lord. It seems like, so they might have a different name.
The New Justice League. No,
who's to say? They could
instead
be
of the Thunderbolts
with an asterisk next to it. I don't know. Who's to say? It's interesting to see. So the general takeaway I got from this trailer was that it seems like whatever fallout happened from the events of Creature Commandos has escalated.
Okay.
And Superman intervenes. Basically, it's basically the bullshit that started from the end of Creature Commandos is about to go to full-blown war, and Superman steps in and puts an end to it. And I'm wondering if maybe it's possible Rick Flag's worried about being thrown under the bus because, let's be honest, he and his team are the ones that kind of fucked that up in the first place, and they weren't supposed to be there because they're off the books, and he's the Secretary of Defense now, it seems like, and the head of Argus. So stands to reason like maybe Superman's going to become a patsy a little bit.
It's possible. Like, so this is what I kind of thought about afterwards, is that he never frowned. He never was brooding, but that doesn't mean the world around him isn't treating him the same way Henry Cavill's Superman was treated. It's just that he's not walking around being dark and grim and not talking to anybody and whatever. So I think that's where, when I watch this trailer, I go, okay, he's Superman. And I'm not intentionally knocking Man of Steel. What I'm saying now is, like, because this is a Superman who's in a lived-in world and has been Superman. Obviously, this isn't an origin. We get him to actually be Superman, which is what I've been wanting. Like, just to get,
a lot of people have.
Yeah, Superman to be Superman. That, I mean, even him getting mad about, like, I was saving people's lives. How can you guys get on to me about that?
That, to me, I think works. That there's a reason, like, I chose that as the thumbnail image for our reaction, is him in that moment, is because, to me, that part right there, that's the thesis statement for what this movie's going to be, I think.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm saying this as a fan of the Snyderverse and not as a knock on it, but that is, to an extent, what BVS was going for.
Yeah.
And, Superman was going to testify at Congress, and then the bomb went off and he didn't get to, obviously. So similar, but this is also not a new story. This is obviously not a new story for Superman to go through.
Yeah.
Superman, this is not a new thing for any superhero to go through in their rise, as it were. So seeing that so much of this hinged on an interview between Superman and Lois, Clark and Lois, however you want to look at it. When we think about the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie and the interview sequence between that Superman and Lois Lane, so much of what people remember and love about that movie hinges on that scene in the original movie. So if you're going to have a similar scene in this movie, you've really got to nail it. And to that point, when we think about that scene in the original movie, we always think about the moment when Clark takes his glasses off and stands up straight and just through body language alone shifts into Superman.
Yep. Do you want me to do it real quick? I have glasses here. No.
I can't do it as well. I'm not as good at it. But I dare say David Corenswet gets a bit of that moment in this trailer.
Oh, yes.
Because when she hits record, I think she goes, "So, Superman," and he just sits up and goes, "Miss Lane."
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with my headphones on, and I'm like, "Oh, I heard that bass, Mr. Superman. Yes, sir."
Yeah.
Like it's to me, that was in that moment. He was like, "Oh, right, I'm me again."
Yeah.
Work face on. It's.
And you're going to the next thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Due to Superman.
I've never been so quickly sold on someone through just a trailer. Well, I think not since I can't think of the last time I was sold so fast.
Everything so far has been pictures and things of him doing, like moving or walking, or he didn't talk. Nobody talked.
Yeah.
In the previous
we get to experience their personalities in this trailer.
So hey, eyes up here. Follow.
I love that moment so much. I was like, yes, Superman with sass. Yeah. Superman who's like this is work. It's very invincible. It's very invincible. Like, come on, buddy. Come on.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, glad you brought that up. Yeah.
No, I love that. Hey, eyes up here. Yeah. He just takes off. So I think I think too, like, I saw a couple memes, a couple of like, oh, the Superman looks weak. And I'm like, these are the same people who complained that all he did in Superman Returns was pick up things
and destroy shit and wipe out. Yeah.
And you're just like, dude, for Superman to be interesting, he can't just be walking around, super fast, everything's done. Or so I like that he's going to be put through his paces.
We literally had an episode of Legends of Tomorrow where Wally West as Kid Flash joins the Legends, and then like in the first episode of that season, he goes and just like takes care of, like, finds the person they need to find in like 3 seconds, and they're like, oh, we usually like do a whole thing. Oh, this changes the dynamic. Oh, and there's like a whole, it's a whole thing. So yeah, he can't just. I like that they continue to include this slow motion shot of him saving the girl.
Yes.
That is I hope that's not just done like that for the trailer. I hope that sequence remains as is in the movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really do. What did you think about, because we got to experience it? Well, first of all, big reveal. Lois knows he's Superman.
I think.
Well,
because the only reason I say that is because they're obviously dating.
Yes.
Clark and Lois are obviously dating. So is she like, hey, let's play a game. You do this.
Oh.
Or is she in the know? And that's
interesting.
Like, she's trying to test out if she could if she could interview
Interesting.
him. That's the only other thing, just because there's not a clear moment where we go. I mean, I'm leaning more towards that
Mhm.
that she knows, but that was the only other thing I was like,
I don't hate that idea. I'm also not out
no.
of the realm of possibility that's a dream sequence either. You know what I mean? But I think I also think you and I have both said at length for between things like My Adventures with Superman and all that. It's just more interesting when she knows.
It's a less of a suspension of disbelief.
Yes, it's
Like,
hard. It's hard enough having to work around like how like the meme of all he does is put on glasses. It's like,
yeah,
well,
like,
yeah.
dude, if I showed up at one of your clubs
Mhm.
during one of your sets, didn't tell you I was there, and I walked in with glasses and not a nerd shirt and made my hair different, there's a possibility you don't recognize me
Oh, absolutely.
because we've never technically met in person, which is
It's,
hilarious, by the way.
I know. Wild fact. We've known each other how long? Never met in person. Which, by the
But
way, I know we said we were gonna. I know we had said before I was gonna fly out to go see the movie with Matt. We're not able to make that
I don't
happen
think it's
this
gonna
time
happen.
around.
We'll see.
We are gonna try to go see it the same weekend so that way we can
Yeah.
talk about it. Because as much as I've toyed around with the idea, we are not waiting until it comes out on demand to watch and react to it on this channel. I'm not waiting. That I realize a lot of people are doing that for content creation purposes. Congratulations, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting.
Yeah. But my point more is that we don't see each other every single day. Like,
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
way somebody you work with on a daily basis, somehow you're not going to realize they're the guy who you also seem to
No,
see on a
literally
daily basis.
last December, I went on the road last December, and the first show we did was here in Dayton before we hit the road, and three people I work with came to the show, and I didn't know they were there until we were getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
This is like, if I don't know you're there looking for you, yeah, I might see you, but it's like, but there's 70 people here at this
Yeah.
show. I'm not. So yeah, but also, and we have seen through the trailer and photos, like it's in body language, it's in his hair, it's in the way there's so much more than just putting on glasses. Like, yeah, but also I feel like that's been disproven time and time again.
Yeah.
I was going somewhere with this and I have completely lost my train of thought.
Hey,
So
was
we're
it
gonna
Zoe? Have you seen that Zoe Deschanel picture where it's like her
yeah,
with her
yes.
bangs back
When
and no
she
glasses?
because
And you're like,
even I remember seeing that and I was like, that's not her. And then you do the thing where like you draw it with a Sharpie and you're like,
yeah.
son of a bitch, that's her. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. But I also think back to the scene from Mystery Men where it's just William H. Macy with two rings in front of Greg Kinnear going,
Yeah.
do you know Lance Hunt? What did you think about, while we've broached the subject, what did you think about the taste of Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane? Because I've watched Mrs. Maisel. I've been singing like her praises to be Lois since before she was cast. So
Yeah.
what did you think of the little bit of her we got and her relationship with Clark we got?
I think I need more context for that scene
Mm-hmm.
because I think she comes across like she's definitely playing devil's advocate, or she's
Yeah.
trying to push him because she doesn't believe in what he's doing.
See,
So
and I also I'm coming at this from somebody who's worked in journalism for a long time, which is I read that as if I'm going to come, if you're going to be interviewed or, if we're doing this, it's Lois Lane, the journalist, interviewing Superman. So like, I'm gonna come at you like a journalist.
like everybody would.
But I also think that, and this is why, again, I think it speaks to the importance, how important that is seen as going to be in the movie, especially when it's in its proper context, is she doesn't know. And she doesn't like she's trying to understand it. I also feel like she might be trying to get Clark to just say it out loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because there is harm in playing things too close to the chest. Like, you can give too safe of an answer to where it seems like you're just deflecting. So, but also, and again, we'll know more in the full context of the scene, but that outburst could also be the thing that makes her go, oh shit. Yeah. Like sometimes things are just that black and white, but not necessarily in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like at the end, I'm
Performance
saving
wise,
people's lives. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Performance wise, I like she's Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Like the only person, come at me, guys. The only person that I was like, is the first time I think I was a little iffy on Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor. I was kind of like, I
I
don't
don't know, man.
know.
I'm getting look, we need to make him more than just bald and moody. Okay.
Yes.
Giving him super millennial main character syndrome.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that whole sequence of like Superman, he's not a man, he's an it, and yet everything seems to focus like he's mad that
People like him.
that people like him, that and that people like him are around and getting all this herald and all that, and he it's ego, it's main character syndrome. So but again, got to see the movie, it'll be interesting to see. We saw a little bit more Metamorpho in this. Twice. And what I noticed about that scene in particular, I don't know if you caught it, but it looks like they somehow got Metamorpho to turn into Kryptonite, at least part of him. And when they're, because he's in that cube with Superman.
Yeah.
And there's some Kryptonite. You can see something green and go, because I'm like, how's Superman kept in this cube? Why does he look like he's struggling? Well, there's Kryptonite there. So I can see it where Metamorpho is maybe like being tortured or something, or manipulated in a way to where he's, because that's Metamorpho's whole thing, is he can turn into elements. So I don't know. New rock stars, get on that.
See, I sent you that screenshot because I'm trying to figure out who are in the cells next to him.
So I'm wondering if
that's what I was looking at, people who are watching the video. I've got a screen right.
So I'm thinking they're just people. I'm thinking they might just be like dissenters or something like that.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the guy who's standing up on the left. If you really kind of look, it looks like it might be Mr. Terrific.
It might be. Maybe they, again, but because Metamorpho's there too. So
I'm wondering if that's Hot Girl.
Could be. It's hard. It could very well be. Yeah. But yeah, if you look at Metamorpho's hand.
I see it. I see what you're saying.
His hand looks like it's Kryptonite.
No, that makes sense. I like that idea.
God, he looks so good as Metamorpho. You know what I mean? Like,
it's interesting.
Yeah. God, I can't wait to see that in live action. I also love that we get to see a little bit more of just Guy Gardner just having none of it. Just Green Lantern, just mage hand backhand. Just no.
Yeah, no. Did you? I don't know if you noticed, but when I did that screenshot, it's literally he made his own hand and he's back slapping everything.
Yeah, he's just not having it. Go away.
Yeah.
It's just like in that first trailer when he like walks up at the people at the window, he's just like, no, be quiet, silence. Yeah. And Mr. Terrific in his little hover chair. Lots else. So where are you sitting now going into we're 2 months out, 2 trailers in. We are an animated series in from James Gunn. Where are you sitting now, hype and excitement level going into Superman?
I was never against seeing it. I think I'm a little leaning more towards I'm thinking it's going to be good.
You are so hard to please.
Well, I think what it is like, again, like James Gunn's not batting 100 for me is the problem. I didn't like the Suicide Squad. I didn't like Super. Like as much as I enjoyed Creature Commandos, it wasn't a knockout of the park. So I'm not trying to say like this has to be a 10 or I'm going to hate it, but For it to do what it needs to do, it's got to be an 8 or a 9.
You're in the same camp as Warner Brothers right now. You need this to
it needs to be, because bro, look, ultimately, what's my goal? Nightwing movie.
I was trying to think of like how dirty a joke to make just then, and then my I got the little spinny beach ball, and just nothing happened. I red ringed completely.
But no, Nightwing movie. We got about 10 movies before we can get to a Nightwing thing, maybe, depending on what Brave and the Bold is. So I think that's where, for me, it's like, I want it to be really good. I want it to be super successful. It's got to be a banger. It doesn't need to be $1 billion. Well, I don't think it needs to be $1 billion movie. It just needs to do really, really well. Look, if you need to get Jack Black into this movie to have some stupid song, Kryptonite can take down Superman real good. Like, if
you're making a joke, but I would 1,000,000% add that to my rotation on Apple Music and annoy the crap out of my coworkers tomorrow. If Peaches plays constantly just because it pisses off my office mate.
But I'm saying, like, even if that's like, I still cannot believe Minecraft has done what it's done.
It makes no sense. None. I still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. So you don't know the chicken reference I'm making?
I do. I mean, I don't care. I'm on the internet. I'm aware of what exists.
Minecraft.
Let's talk about some.
Hold on, real quick. This is where I'm going to get stupid for a second. Minecraft film box office. I just want to see real quick.
One journey through space later.
It is at over $900 million globally.
That is insane. That's ridiculous. Man, Minecraft's going to be the movie to take some of the stress off of fucking Warner Brothers.
The problem I have right now is there is legitimately a world where Minecraft makes more money than Superman if we're not careful here.
Oh no, I think it's a distinct possibility. I think it's absolutely a distinct possibility. I think there's an absolute genuine chance. That's the power of a successful family movie, dude.
It's the power of Jack Black and Jason Momoa.
Power of Jack Black and Jason Momoa. I want to talk a little bit about some things that we didn't see in this.
Okay.
Which is Supergirl.
No Supergirl.
Still no Supergirl. And strangely enough, no Maxwell Lord, even though we saw him in the Peacemaker trailer.
Yes.
Maxwell Lord, I'm not as surprised by.
No.
Supergirl not appearing in the trailer has me wondering, is she just going to be in the post-credit scene?
I'm imagining.
If that's the case, why did they just confirm it to get out ahead of the rumors then, do you think?
Definitely.
Interesting.
Because, I mean, look, you have to remember, like, they nearly were on top of each other, the productions. So
nearly they did. Well, no, they didn't. Filming didn't overlap, I guess. Post-production.
It was close.
Because James Gunn said the other day on Threads that like the movie Superman itself is like 97% done, so it's still technically not done. They're still touching up VFX and stuff.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's not like you had 2 years between these two movies. Like,
oh no, pretty much once she was confirmed as being in the movie, production on, well, I mean, we already knew it was coming from their early announcements, but pretty much once she was confirmed, we started hearing about rollouts on that movie anyway. So
yeah, I wouldn't imagine she's going to be in a trailer. I think it may be that whole weird thing they did with Daphne Keane for Deadpool and Wolverine, like the week before it comes out, that she might be like in a TV spot for some dumb reason.
I hate those so much. It was the same thing they did when they put, spoiler alert, at adamantium in the like that being in Captain America got spoiled for me in a Hulu ad like 3 days before the movie came out, and I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Stuff for Thunderbolts was getting spoiled by the Marvel account on social media the day after the movie came out. So I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, that Monday or Tuesday they started dropping crap.
It was annoying. So it is curious to me that the fact we haven't seen her yet has me thinking more and more she's really probably just going to be a glorified cameo more than anything else. We also, but I will say we had speculated. I wonder if Ma Kent is dead in this one. Nope, Ma's alive.
No, yeah, she was there, redhead. Yeah,
and has a great moment. Clean your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Yeah,
love it. I love seeing Ma and Pa Kent. I love being on the Kent farm. I love that he wakes up with crypto on his belly.
That I think that's my only real moderate negative is like, you've already sold me on crypto, but we're done.
Well,
like, I don't need you to sell me anymore.
I don't think they're trying to sell it. I think at this point they're just. I think crypto is going to. I originally thought crypto was just going to be like the thing you used to get kids into this movie, but if they're gearing up for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which crypto plays a part in. Having recently read it, and also just from what we saw in the rest of this trailer, they're not trying to sell us on crypto. I think crypto is going to be like a big part. I think he's going to be like not a big part, but like I think he's going to be like a character in this movie. Like he's not just there for a bit.
Well, and that's what I think this trailer really shows is like all these people who like Guy Gardner. All these other characters, they're not bit parts.
They're your supporting cast.
They're supporting cast. They're in this movie doing things.
If you've got characters in a comic book movie that can be comic book characters, why not? You know what I mean? Like it just.
No, right. I'm. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Old, that's what it is.
But no, I think like I was excited about it before. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Crossing my fingers. This makes me a little more like, no, this is a good movie. You know, sometimes they do that teaser to hide that the movie's actually bad. This is a good movie.
Well, the closer and closer you get to a movie's release date, and you know the less promotion you see closer and closer to a release date, the more you start to be like, okay, what's I remember when Spider-Man No Way Home was coming out and it was like, yo, we're going to get like the next Game of Thrones book before we get the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Bro, you know? how mad do you think Marvel is that they released the Ironheart trailer earlier?
Oh, they're so mad. That was the dumbest thing in the world. The fact that and the trailer was fine. Like
I think they're trying to bury it.
But I honestly feel like they just I don't and I know nothing about I didn't read the Ironheart comics, and so and I think the trailer for the show looked fine, but dropping that 3 hours before the trailer for Superman, which was announced days ago, you have had time.
You have time to wait.
You should have dropped the trailer on Monday, and then Ryan Coogler's video about why Riri Williams is cool today, like you got him backwards, guys. Like what were you thinking?
They were locked in the dates to do it before. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we have to do this 4 weeks out from this.
Okay, but you know what? As somebody who does that for my company, like that's my job. My job is to pre-schedule those things for the company I work for as a social media guy. Mm-hmm. If I drop the ball like that, my boss is knocking on my door and saying, why did you do this?
Yeah.
Why? Because that's something that any marketing professional worth their salary knows to look out for. Yeah. That's
because
I don't know if they were thinking maybe it was gonna like cross over, but I just
Have they even said, are they dropping all of them at once? Are they going to do the Echo thing and just be like, here you go, fine, leave it alone?
No clue.
The first 3 look like they're coming out on the same day. So
Well, it
I'm
depends on how many episodes there are, because they've been doing that. They did that with Andor, and Andor was 12 episodes,
no,
a 12
no,
episode season.
this says there's 6, so I have a feeling they're dropping all of them on the same day.
Well, could be. Disney Plus also can't make up their mind with that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. But back to Superman. Are we excited? Are you excited?
Dude, I'm again, as somebody who, like, on the record is not necessarily a Superman fan, like, this for me, I'm not so much excited for this as a Superman movie. I mean, I am for sure, but and as somebody who is on the outside looking in as a not really a Superman fan, for me to be this excited about a Superman movie, but mostly just getting to the fact that I feel like for the first time outside of anything animated or on the CW, like, getting to live in a live action DC universe where everything, we're not afraid to just be a comic book thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was telling somebody earlier, I was like, this world that James Gunn is creating looks so spectacularly lived in, but in a way that says, hey guys, we're not afraid to admit we're a comic book movie. Shit's gonna get weird.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, we're gonna have some great stories about heart and hope and honesty and right versus wrong, and we're also gonna have a dog with a cape that fights a robot. You know, like, it just is what it is. You know, we're gonna have a guy whose name is Mr. Terrific with a T painted on his face. Like,
that looks cool as hell.
And it looks cool as shit. Like it's just roll with it, man. Roll with it. Yeah. Guy Gardner's got a bowl cut and it sucks, but Guy Gardner sucks, so it's fine. I'm as a, like, massive DC fan. You know, we've often said we've kind of got the short end of the stick. Marvel's kind of had the run of the game for a while with good reason. Not like they haven't earned it. And it's just nice to again feel like there's some light on the end of the tunnel. It's like, can we finally just have something, please? Can DC finally get to not be the butt of the joke for once?
Yeah,
please.
Can DC do something right besides Batman?
Yes. Can we please knock it out of something besides Batman? Because, you know, Man of Steel in the Snyderverse aside, we haven't really with Superman since the OG. Maybe Superman 2, depending on who you ask. So yeah, you know, and between this and Fantastic Four, I'm really, because even though the jury's still out with me on that one, but that's more of a me thing. I'm hoping this is the year of, like,
comic book movies that are leaning deep into being comic book movies.
That are just, can we just get to the part where it's like, for the longest time now, for better or worse, through the MCU, we've had comic book properties that weren't too comic booky. They were comic booky enough to get the nerds in, but not too comic booky so as not to off-put the normal people.
Yeah.
And then we got into this point where it's like, well, we've done all the surface level stuff.
Yeah.
How do we
gotta
start
go deep?
How do we start bringing the deep in? And I think that's where Marvel struggled with post Endgame, was figuring out how to do that. And it was tough. And DC works best, Batman notwithstanding, DC works best when it just lives in its own weird.
Yeah.
You know, you take a hint of that DC salt, and you just it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's So my hype is super high just because as a DC fan, and what, knowing how important this movie is to the future of the DCU just in general, I'm obviously rooting for it, but to be looking at a trailer for something, to look at it and go, to feel in my bones like, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't get optimistic like that very often about anything ever.
Yeah.
My favorite band says they have a new album coming out. I'm just praying to God it doesn't suck. You know what I mean? This is the first time in a long time something from DC that wasn't Batman related had me going like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
We're you know what? It's gonna be okay, guys. Everything's gonna be okay. So
we're there.
let us know how you guys are feeling down in the comments, please, on your way down there, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's on the way, so it's super efficient. We are trying to hit 500 by the end of the year. Please and thank you. We really appreciate that. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far, and keep subscribing if you haven't. While you're at it, please follow us on all the social medias at WATB Pod. You can find me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
You can find me on social media at The Hasso Man.
That is going to do it for this episode of We Are the Batman. We'll see you guys again next time. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.